Hi guys, so we're gonna do a 15-ish minute mobility workout and warm up. So essentially what this is just all body weight. It's a really nice way to warm up your body and get it prepped for more movement. But you can also just do it on its own. You'll find a little bit of lower body, a little bit of upper body, a little bit of shoulder and hip opener, and maybe even a little bit of core. So we'll go ahead and get started on the mat. You're gonna start with your feet about hips distance apart. Come into a squat position. Place your hands down to the ground. Just stay here in this low squat if you can. If the ground is really far away from you, you can also just elevate your hands on maybe a book or a coffee table. We're gonna stay in that low squat, keeping the knees wider than the arms, and then walk out into a plank position. Hold there for breath, and then begin to bring your hands back until your heels come to the floor, and then stand all the way up. So this exercise sometimes is called a walkout to plank. Great warm up for the shoulders. A little work for the arms. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just focusing on taking my time to get into the walkout. Again, not moving too fast. Just really allowing my body a little bit of time to warm up. I'm gonna do one more here. I'm gonna come all the way back, stand all the way up. All right, then move on to my second exercise, which is gonna be forward lunges. You can bring your hands to your hips or leave them down by your sides. This is gonna prep me actually for a workout that's on another video. That'll be a strength training workout. And I'm telling you that now because you can make a mental note that when you get to this one, that one rather, you can use this one as your warm up. I'm gonna do 3 more each side. Again, when you're doing these forward lunges, right, you'll notice that your knee is right over your ankle. That back knee lowers close to the ground. And we'll do one more. All right, so that's that lunge exercise, alternating forward lunges. So we're gonna come down actually back through that squat position, walk out to plank like we did before, with the hands shoulder distance apart, okay? Hold the plank, bend your knees a little bit, and slide your hips back and press your arms forward. This is a downward facing dog, so if you are used to doing yoga, this might look familiar. Take a breath in, come all the way to plank, and then press back into downward facing dog. I like to do my downward facing dogs with my knees bent a little bit. I find that it is easier for me to find a better position for my back to be in, my low back in particular, especially when my body isn't warm yet. I want to make sure that my knees stay a little bit bent. Arms nice and straight, stay steady with your breathing. All right, I'm gonna do one more here, and then at the top of that plank, I'm gonna lower all the way down to the ground. All right, next exercise is gonna be Superman's. Once you reach your arms forward, over your head, and on an inhale, we'll go ahead and lift the chest and the arms at the same time. So just lift and lower. I'm gonna add a little bit onto this. Keep your chin tucked, your eyes straight at the ground. So if you're trying to look forward, you might hurt your neck. So we're gonna lift again, and I'm gonna bend my elbows and bring them back, extend my arms forward, and then come back down to the ground. I'm gonna do that 8 more times. Lift, pull, extend, and lower. Lift, pull, extend, and lower. And what I want you to do when you're doing that is imagine that you're pulling something towards you. Or you're trying to engage the muscles of your upper back as you do this. We'll do 4 more. I think that'll be 8, but don't quote me. Sometimes my counting is like 1 or 2 off. Such is life. 2 more. All right, and we'll go 1 more. All right, and moving on to the next exercise. Take your hands alongside of your chest. Push yourself up into what feels like a kneeling plank. Cross your ankles if you're comfortable with that. And And we're just gonna lower down into 10 push-ups. And abs engaged, glutes engaged. Here's the last one. All right, go ahead and sit back into a child's pose just for a moment. Stretch your arms way out in front of you. Slide your hips way on back. Kind of feels like that downward facing dog, right? So it's like child's pose, except my hips are in the air rather than being towards my heels. I'm just gonna kind of let my shoulders drop side to side. All right, I'm gonna walk it on up into tabletop position. Again, really great exercise for core stability. Take your right leg behind you as straight as you can. Push down into the floor like you mean it until you feel your abdominals engage. You're gonna lift that right leg, reach your left arm forward, hold for a breath, let it all the way out, and switch sides. Left leg kicks behind you, straight, lifting from the back of the leg. Feel the glute, feel the lower back, engage the core, reach, take a breath, and switch sides. This is an exercise a little bit tricky, but it's really mostly about core stability. So if you feel like you're kind of just kicking your leg up behind you, really make it strong. If you can see, I'm flexing my foot almost as if I'm trying to push into the wall behind me. Breathing nice and steady. I'm going to do 2 more each side. There's 1. So you might be wondering, like, okay, warm up. What are we really doing here? What we're trying to do is prime our body, right? Prime our muscles for all of the exercises that we'll do, or that you would do maybe in any given workout. So really it's just like a little bit of a potpourri, if you will. All right, so we're gonna go ahead into this tabletop position. You can see, as you can see, I'm still on my hands and knees here. I'm gonna shift my weight forward until I feel a little work in the creases of my wrist, and then I'm gonna come back out. So I'm actually just rocking. So this kind of thing, right, warming up the wrist is really terrific. If you're gonna be doing some planks, or you're gonna be doing some push-ups and you tend to get tight there, many of my clients do. If it's still, you may notice that your palms wanna lift off the mat or the ground, wherever you happen to be. Do your best to try to firm those fingers and palms into the ground. Maybe hold that forward position. And then I'm gonna rock out of it, and I'm gonna change directions. I'm gonna spin my thumbs away from me and do the same thing here. So I'm gonna take my weight back, and now I can feel the stretch in my forearms. And this is, again, it looks a little weird, I know, but boy, it does the job. It does the job. So I'm just rocking forward, rocking back. Nice and easy. All right, we'll do 2 more. And then last one. All right, go ahead. I'm gonna come back on my knees. I'm gonna just clasp my hands together and do some little wrist circles. All right, step 1 leg forward. So my leg here that's forward is my left leg. I'm gonna keep my right knee down on the ground for the time being. I'm gonna take my arms forward and I'm gonna round my upper back until I can feel my shoulder blades moving away from my spine. And then I'm gonna sit nice and tall, or rather come up nice and tall, and then take my hands behind me as far as I can. It's gonna give me a stretch through my chest. So I'm gonna round forward and then open up into a more extended shape. Now, if you notice when you do that your ribs tend to flare forward, squeeze your abdominals and pull the ribs down toward your hips. So I deliberately did that on my first couple sets. If you catch that, you're like, well, she was doing it. I know I was doing it. It's a common thing, right? Just gotta bring a little awareness. We're gonna do 2 more. All right, we're gonna bring the hands back down to the ground, lift the back leg up. Shift your weight back and pull your left foot away, sole of your left foot away from the floor, toe towards your shin. Walk your hands forward, drop your back knee down. Walk it back, straighten the front leg, lift the toe, and then walk it on back. So you're moving back and forth from a hip flexor stretch to a hamstring stretch. Take your time. We'll do this 1 more time, and we're gonna end with the back knee down on the ground. And then from here, Keep the right knee on the ground. Take your left hand behind your head and open up into a twist. And then come back down and open up into a twist. So as I said at the beginning of the workout, this would just be a great thing to start with if you just need to move your body and not tax yourself too much. What we're doing is we're priming everything. We're doing rotation right here, stabilization, hamstrings, hips, good stuff. Take your hand down, step your right foot forward, your left knee back, lower your left knee down to the ground and come all the way back up into that upright position. On an inhale, reach your arms forward, round through your upper back. On an exhale, take the backs of your hands toward the wall behind you. And exhale, are your ribs down? Check that. Breathe. You also notice too, my down leg, this knee that's down, my knee is sort of behind my hip, not directly underneath that hip. So in order for me to stretch out this hip flexor at the same time, I kind of have to shift my weight more forward, right? And have that knee placed exactly where it is. All right, take your hands back down to the ground. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee away from the ground, shift your weight back and pull your toes towards your shin until you feel the back of your right thigh and the back of your calf getting a nice little stretch. Roll the foot down, left knee down to tap, take a breath, and shift back, right? You can definitely do this movement a little bit more rhythmically if you like. That works. That works. Okay, here's the last one. All right, step your left foot forward to meet your right. We're actually gonna lie down on the ground, believe it or not, for some bridges. Now, bridges are a really great exercise. I do them just about every day. They're really awesome for your glutes, your low back, your core, and your hamstrings. The way you set this up is to make sure that your heels are about hips distance apart. Open up the chest, right? That feeling of spaciousness through your collarbones. You can take your hands by your side or out wide. It's totally up to you. Lift your hips away from the ground. Use the strength of your glutes and the back of your thighs to lift your hips away from the ground. Keep your eyes straight at the ceiling. Although you might be tempted to look, and that's fine to take a gander, but you don't really want to lift your hips while you're turning your head to the side. It's not really the best thing to do for your neck. I'm gonna do 5 more. So I like to do glutes, or rather bridges for glutes at the beginning of a workout where I'm gonna be doing a lot of lower body. Generally speaking, anytime you prime your muscles like this, is you're sort of putting them on alert that they're going to be working. All right, wakes them up a little bit, hence why we call it a warm-up. All right, lower it all the way down. Last exercise, we made it. Take your hands out wide, feet together, knees together. If you notice, my knees are over my hips, they're not in my belly. All right, keeping that nice neutral spine. I'm gonna lower my legs to the right. Come on, all the way back up to center, and then over to the left. Now what you're going for here is a little stretch through that side body. You'll definitely feel this in the muscles of your waist. I want you to try to make sure that both of those shoulders stay firm to your mat. Okay, they stay firm to your mat. Right? Because as your legs go to one side, that opposite shoulder is going to want to lift off the floor. You have to do your best to keep it down. And we'll go one more each side. And I told you, I promised this would be the last one. All right, take your knees back to center, cross your legs. You can either roll over to the side or roll all the way up. All right, guys, so this would be, again, like I said, a great exercise routine to either just do on its own. If you just need 15 minutes of quick movement, you can do it as a warm-up for your next full body strength, or even a HIIT workout would work out great because you've covered all your bases, right? So thanks so much.